I cut my own hair. Can you tell? Probably. It's a little bit messy, there are too many layers to count, and my bed head is genuinely atrocious. You can ask anyone that I live with, my roommate is right over there. Up until I was 21 years old, my most expensive haircut was $10, $12, and that was only when I forgot the coupon for Great Clips. Otherwise, it was $10 plus tip. Money was tight, haircuts were cheap, easy logic. So when I got to college, that's the logic that I continued to follow. Cutting my own hair was cheaper, faster, and easier than anything else. And as a college freshman, that is exactly what I needed. Now, 4 years later and a college senior, I still cut my own hair, but my reasons have changed. I cut my own hair because I know and I trust myself to bring my own vision to life. And my hair has changed an incredible amount in the time that I've been to college. When I first got here, it was a short blonde bob, and then it was longer, and then brown, and then red, and then really long, and then bangs, and then no bangs. And then short, and then red, and then I had a hot pink mullet, and then I had a bright orange mullet. And then I had a brown pixie cut, and then it was black, and now it's whatever you want to call this. My hair, among many other things, is a foundational tool for me to explore and express my gender identity, an experience shared by many queer and trans people. But at its core, I cut my own hair because I know the vision of myself that I want to see when I look in the mirror. And having the power to bring that self to fruition is incredibly empowering. And that is what I want to talk to you about today, the phenomenon of a college haircut and why I think every single one of you, whether or not you're in college, should get one. But before I push you to do this yourself, we first need to understand the dorm room haircut as an expression of autonomy and as a foundational tool in building intimate relationships in a potentially unusual and an absolutely guaranteed pretty messy sort of trust exercise. And when I was developing this speech, I put a question out on Instagram, asking the world about their thoughts, experiences, feelings of dorm room haircuts. And I received a wide variety of responses from Idaho, Montana, New York, Florida, everywhere, from a variety of ages and life stages. These answers I will be drawing on as I go through my speech, but I want to point out that everyone had something to say. In the time that I started writing this speech, I have seen personally walking down Martin's Way at least one haircut. I talked to someone who got a haircut yesterday performing in this competition with me. The person next to me in the breakfast line this morning is getting a dorm room haircut tomorrow. This is everywhere. And I think that speaks all the more to the intimate, sweet, and memorable nature that is a dorm room haircut. And if you research dorm room haircuts, you'll be met with dozens of articles from people across the country talking about memories of small businesses that sprung up at their college, or an op-ed about a student who finally found a haircut that felt true to them. We in college have, for perhaps the first time, full control over our bodies and appearances, and we get to explore that in all of the ways that we want to, and that is incredibly powerful. For queer and trans students particularly, their college dorm room may be one of the first places that unfiltered identity exploration can take place. And this is so important to all of us. One of the responses to my question was from a student formerly at Hamilton College, who told me that the first week that they realized they were genderqueer, they borrowed a pair of hair clippers from a trans friend, shaved their head in a communal Hamilton bathroom, and that it was so sweet, and they felt so, so powerful. And this is an experience foundational to and shared by many queer and trans people, but regardless of your gender or sexuality or where you're coming from, the ability to experiment, to express yourself in college is why we are here. Physically shaping ourselves, deciding how we get to present to the world and who comes on this journey with us is incredibly important. Why is this true? We understand that a haircut is important and powerful. We get upset when a haircut doesn't come out the way we want it to, spend arguably too much money on stylists or specialists, and hide bad hair days under hats or dry shampoo. We want to feel validated, to feel reassured and comfortable by the self that we see in the mirror. and our haircut can have a lot of sway in whether or not that happens. And I think that reimagining identity is one of the most beautiful things about a college experience. We get to remake ourselves as many times as we want to and as many times as we need to. My friend described her first dorm room haircut first as a question. I get to do this. And then as a realization, I get to do this. We are physically marking who we are now on our bodies in a space, in an institution literally built for our development and exploration. And we are new as many times as we need to be. And as we traverse the many paths of potential personhood that are our college selves, we get to decide who comes on this journey with us. Maybe we cut our own hair, talk to a trusted suite mate, or get a recommendation from a stranger who apparently does a really good job and we can trust them. How beautiful is that? Of the many responses that I got back from my question on Instagram, the most common answer was about the beauty of trust and intimacy present in the act of cutting someone's hair. These two words, trust and intimacy, came up over and over and over again, and I agree. How many people in your life have helped to physically shape you? Probably very few. The vulnerability and trust that is required of both parties is a big ask. And from my neighbor, who runs the closest thing to a full salon setup I've seen in college, cape included, the person giving the haircut must trust that the giver does a good job and brings their vision to life. And the giver must trust that there is forgiveness and vulnerability and grace in case they mess up. And not only do we experience this intimacy with one person, but likely with many transient characters as well. In my dorm, I share a bathroom with 12 people, and at least 10 of them have walked in on some sort of hair transformation. Some of them give me advice, show me where I missed a spot, ask to cut a little piece for themselves. Some are so used to it they ignore me completely. But it is usually a community affair, and that makes it all the sweeter. Because a dorm room haircut is not simply a haircut. It is directly related to the process of identity, exploration, and development that is so pivotal to our college years. It encourages us to exercise our autonomy, to explore our imagined or ideal selves, as no matter how messy or uneven as they may be. As my dear friend told me, it is a rite of passage and a symbol of maturity, regardless of how impulsive they may seem. My dorm room haircuts are some of my fondest college memories, have shown me versions of myself that I didn't know that I needed to explore, and have provided amusement to everyone around me. And so I encourage each and every one of you to have a dorm room haircut. I can provide references, I will do it myself. And if it turns out poorly, that's okay. It grows back.